Monday night, it was Will Myers and the Padres exchanging high fives. They took the first game of this series. Last night, though, Arizona coming from behind, they got to celebrate. Tonight, the rubber match, Snakes and Friars on Fox Sports San Diego. Smoked to left, pumped it, going back, and it's gone. And Pollock takes Quackenbush deep for the second time, and Arizona does have their first lead of the night. Big home run in the 7th inning for A.J. Pollock, a 3-run shot as the Diamondbacks come from behind against the Padres bullpen in last night's game. Today, Roberto Clemente Day around all of Major League Baseball, and the Padres nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award, Andrew Cashner, will be on the mound. Welcome to Chase Field with Mark Grant. I'm Jesse Agler. Final game of this 3-game series, rubber game of this 3-game series, and another opportunity to face the Diamondbacks for Andrew Cashner. It's been a little bit of a mixed bag against the Snakes for him this year.
A really big mixed bag for Andrew Cashner, and being the nominee for Roberto Clemente Day, how about if Andrew Cashner goes about 8 innings? So let's look at the good versus the Diamondbacks. Look at the ERA. Very respectable. Only 3 walks, 26 strikeouts against these Diamondbacks this year. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. But then you look at the bad for Andrew Cashner. We know that he can spot the fastball, throw the slider for strikeouts. But then you look at the unearned runs, and then you look at the bad for Andrew Cashner. 1-3 record. 15 runs in 24 innings. This all boils down to, it's pretty much a microcosm of the season. The unearned run for Andrew Cashner. And Andrew knows this. After an unearned run, after an error, the defense, sure, it's been questionable. But a pitcher needs to make a good pitch. Andrew knows this to get out of the inning, have a lead, hold a lead, and then hopefully go deep into the ballgame for Andrew Cashner. That's been pretty much the sum of his series, or this season this year.
It has been Dickensian for him. A tale of 2 Cashners, as you saw. So Andrew will be on the bump tonight. Robbie Ray, the left-hander, goes for Arizona. When we come back, we will remember Roberto. Padre first base coach Jose Valentin, a native of Puerto Rico, discusses one of his boyhood heroes. Baseball brought to you by Petco. What we feed them matters. By Sony's Action Cam. Prove yourself. And by Hotel Transylvania 2. In theaters September 25th.
Welcome back to a beautiful evening here in Phoenix. Game 3 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks as all of Major League Baseball celebrates Roberto Clemente Day as we celebrate the longtime baseball player. And he was known for several things, being the first Latino player enshrined in the Hall of Fame, the 15 All-Star games, the Silver Sluggers, all the awards that he racked up. But maybe what he's most known for is humanitarian awards and what he has done to help other countries, especially the Latino players. And I talked to Jose Valentin, especially what he means to his culture.
Clemente in Puerto Rico is like, not only in Puerto Rico, but for all the players coming out of Puerto Rico, is like, Jackie Robinson in the States. I mean, I think he was, he opens a lot of doors for all the players in Puerto Rico coming in the States and play. And also playing in that type of area when, guys coming, with colors, like black guys, it was kind of tough for him. So, but, I mean, you're asking about any Puerto Rican player, what is the hero? They're all going to say Roberto Clemente. And not only because the good player that he was, but also the good person he was off the field.
And as the guys in the booth told you, the Padres nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award goes to Andrew Kashner, and he will take the mound today. He's already pitched here on Mother's Day and on Father's Day, and now on Roberto Clemente Day. But you know what he would enjoy? Some run support as we see these bats continue to heat up here in the desert. First pitch coming up on Fox Sports San Diego.
Will Myers in the hitter's count. That's going to get all the way to the wall. 2 runs are in. Norris is being waved. Now once into left. Upton has to get past him. Heading to third is Ahmed. That Murphy was the one who got ejected. And that one is gone. And Pollock takes Quackenbush deep. .64 Diamondbacks after a 10-3 win for the Padres on Monday night. Robbie Ray, the left-hander, going to face San Diego for the 3rd time this season. And the Padre lineup is brought to you by Toyota. 3rd straight game. Will Myers will lead off. You see he's in left field tonight. Justin Upton a little bit under the weather, so he gets the night off. How about Brett Wallace in the cleanup spot this evening against the 23-year-old southpaw, Robbie Ray. ready to go on a Wednesday night at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. And the first pitch of the night is a fastball in the dirt to Myers, 1-0. Will leading off for the third straight game in this series. Started each of the first 2 games at first base, played a little bit of center field the other night. And in left here this evening for just the second time this season. Takes another pitch outside of the strike zone. This one high from Robbie Ray, 2-0.
And the scouting report for Robbie Ray is brought to you by UCSD Health. This kid's got a good arm from the left side. Slider, changeup, curveball. Fastball is about 90 to 96. He's got good stuff, Jesse, but sometimes the execution isn't there. You got to be patient. Draw a walk here and there.
Myers checks his swing, but it's a called strike on the inside corner. Crew chief Tom Hallion giving the first strike call of the night. There is Justin Upton, as we said, according to Pat Murphy, a little bit under the weather. So Myers gets the start in left field. Maybe available to pinch hit. 95 this time from Ray, and outside, ball 3. Mention the crew chief Hallion behind the plate. Dan Bellino at first, Bruce Dreckman at second, and Alfonso Marquez at third base tonight. 3-1 count and a pitch outside. So Will Myers continues to get on base here against the Diamondbacks. A leadoff walk, and the Arizona defense is brought to you by David and Goliath for California Lottery. Behind Robbie Ray, Peralta, Pollock, Inciarte in the outfield. Lamb and Owings on the left side of the infield. Drury, another start defensively. Goldschmidt at first, and for the first time in this series, Jared Saltalamacchia. His name almost fits back behind the plate.
They call him Salty.
They do. First start of the series for Saltalamacchia. Solarte, switch hitter, will bat right-handed against Ray, and he leans back from a 93-mile-per-hour fastball. Strike 1.
Hey, nothing wrong with a walk to lead off the game, huh? Walk this way. Walk like an Egyptian.
Myers walked last night, couple of hits, including the homer in the first game of the series.
Walk like a man.
Solarte, 3 hits in the first couple of games against Arizona. As a right-handed hitter this year, batting .252. Just under .280 as a left-handed batter. And he chops this one over to shortstop. Owings goes to second for 1, and that'll be a double play. 6-4-3 off the bat of Yangervis Solarte. As we take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, my first one, Jesse, was rough up Robbie Ray. Get to him early. Try to get into that bullpen. Left-hander's got some good stuff, but he can leave some pitches over the plate. And support for Cashner. Nice to see crooked numbers early for Andrews, so he has a little bit of wiggle room. Hey, every pitcher gives up home runs. They give up multiple runs in an inning. If you give up a 2 spot, you still have some room to deal with and go deep into the ball game.
Talk about supporting Cashner. You can talk about defense, too, not just run support.
Yes, there you go. The unearned run has been a big key, a big factor for the Padres this year and Andrew Cashner.
Matt Kemp held off the bases last night after scoring a couple of runs in the big victory on Monday. Leads the team with 147 hits on the season. Takes strike 2. Yeah, we've seen Robbie Ray a couple of times this year. Certainly not the prototypical lefty. As you see, get it up, 95-96. Kemp pops this one up, but it'll be out of play. Saltalamacchia giving it a look. Talk all the time about Kemp's great numbers against the Diamondbacks, both this year as a Padre and previously as a member of the Dodgers. 134 career games against the Snakes, nearly a full season, and great looking numbers. 296, 29 homers.
You know what I just noticed about Robbie Ray? That was a breaking ball, a curveball in the dirt. He really tilted his top half of his body to get up on top of that. Keep an eye on that. Hitters can pick up on that. If they see him tilt a little bit towards that third base line to get up on top, indicates maybe, does he do it here? Nope, that was straight. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was more a little straight up on the fastball. On that previous breaking ball, he tilted back a little bit more to get up on top.
Brett Wallace in the cleanup spot tonight. He's on deck. Yeah, that's something to watch for.
You can play even a little game at home. Watch his delivery and call the pitch before he throws it. Let's watch. Fastball. He's more straight.
So here you go. A couple of pitches ago, the breaking ball from Robbie Ray. As you saw him throw a couple of heaters here.
His body will go that way a little bit more to get up on top. See that? And then the fastball, he was more straight up with his top half of his body.
Took something off that time. Kemp swings and misses. Strike 3. We'll keep an eye on that. Andrew Kashner coming out to start against Arizona for the 5th time. Warms up, and he will face this Arizona lineup brought to you by Hyundai. Pollock, Inciarte, Goldschmidt, Peralta, Jared Saltalamacchia, Lamb, Drury, Owings, and Ray. Really got to jam it in there against Jared Saltalamacchia. Well, Pollock, of course, was the hero for the Diamondbacks last night. Andrew Kashner, 5-15 on the year with a 4.27 ERA.
And the scouting report for Andrew brought to you by Montalvo. He strikes early, expand late. See if he can put away these Diamondback hitters early without having deep counts.
Pollock takes a first pitch fastball for a called strike, 0-1. Cash's 29th start of the season, his 5th against Arizona. A 1-3 record against the Diamondbacks, but just a 2.63 ERA in those games. Pollock takes inside. th homer of the season last night for Pollock. RBI 65, 66, and 67. And he lines this one to right field. It gets down in front of Kemp. And A.J. Pollock leads off the bottom of the first inning with an opposite field single. Padres defense is brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. You just saw Matt Kemp in right. Melvin Upton getting the start in center field with Will Myers in left for just the 2nd time this year. Jerko again at shortstop next to Solarte with Spangenberg and Brett Wallace on the right side. And a 2nd consecutive start behind the plate for Austin Hedges. Derek Norris may be available to pinch hit tonight with that bruised right hand.
Once again, with Hedges behind the plate, cuts down on the running game for the Diamondbacks. Let's see what they do. Test the arm of the young rookie.
Pollock certainly a guy that can steal a base. 35 of them so far this year. And right off the bat, Andrew checks in on him.
Hey, you never know. Chip Hale might be putting something on early just to show some aggression. Hey, why not? Right? As you take a look at the 83% in the stolen base category for A.J. Pollock this year.
Inciarte had a nice night last night after going 0 for 2 in the first game of the series. Another check on Pollock. Stares across the diamond at third base coach Andy Green. Kashner comes home this time and hits the corner. Strike 1 to Inciarte. See Solarte at third base playing in a little bit. Inciarte more than capable of bunting for a base hit. He's done so 6 times this year. Arizona more bunt hits than any other team in the National League this season. Pollock stays put, and the fastball misses low, 1-1.
Yeah, one of the things from Andrew Kastner's standpoint, he goes from the extreme first base side of that pitcher's rubber. He wants to get that down and in, straight down and in. Look at how close he is to that part of the rubber on first base. Closer throw to first on the pickoff, but he also gets the straight line into a lefty. On that two-seamer, he can bring it back, and he gets that angle down and away.
Inciarte goes the other way, and back-to-back opposite field hits for the Diamondbacks against Kastner here in the first. Pollock went to right, and Inciarte goes to left.
We mentioned that Andrew is trying to bury the fastball in. Look at Hedges' glove, and that ball leaks. It's pretty straight as well. Nice short compact swing from Inciarte, taking it, playing Little Pepper the other way for the base hit.
So first and second, nobody out, and Paul Goldschmidt coming up for the Diamondbacks. He hits everybody well. Padres certainly part of that. Hits in 8 straight games against San Diego, and 14 of the 15 he's played against them this year. Takes that pitch low. Just barely. 1 ball and no strikes. Against Kastner in his career. Good numbers. Starting first baseman for the National League in the All-Star game each of the last 2 years. Swings and misses there. 1-1.
First slider of the game out of the hand of Andrew Kastner, and it's a dandy. Key for Andrews, staying on top of that slider, not working around it. It will get flat if he works around it. So Darren Balsey says that Andrews been working on that very hard in his bullpen sessions to stay on top of that pitch. It was evident on that last one. Hey, I know it's Paul Goldschmidt. I know he's having a great year, but this is where Andrew needs to put him away on 1 or 2 pitches rather than avoid a 3-2 count. And then advantage goes to Goldschmidt with 2 runners on.
See Wallace at first base playing way off the line. Inciarte able to stretch out a pretty big lead over there. 1-2 to Goldschmidt is outside with the fastball at 97. And you know Cash can get it up there. Can add and subtract with that fastball. Rear and back for a little bit extra against Goldschmidt.
Remember, fastballs up and away to Goldschmidt. You can throw them by him.
Reaches down and spoils that pitch. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Goldie. Knocked in his 100th run of the season in the first game of this series. Leads the Diamondbacks in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. Only Nolan Arenado has driven in more runs in the National League than Paul Goldschmidt. Nothing in the strike zone.
See if the horned frog can put him away.
Got him. Nice pitch from Andrew Kastner on 2-2. He strikes out Paul Goldschmidt for a big first out here in the bottom of the first.
Hey, that's some serious work by the Conroe Comet. First pitch fastball misses. But what's his main thing here? He wants to try to keep everything down and jam him. There's the fastball away. Good slider. He fouled it off, and he went right back to it for the punch out. Perfect execution of those pitches from Andrew Kastner.
1 out now with runners on first and second, and David Peralta, left fielder, at the plate. Another dangerous hitter. Extended his hitting streak to 12 games last night. First pitch swinging, could be 2. Spangenberg to Jerko to Wallace. Both pitchers getting first inning double plays to get out of trouble. Andrew Kastner, couple of singles right off the bat, struck out Goldschmidt and got Peralta to ground into the 4-6-3 double play.
On a no score here in the top of the second as we welcome you into Chase Field. Padres pitcher Josh Johnson has elected to have a third Tommy John surgery. He had the second one last year. This year, in his process to try and come back, has had two setbacks, one most recently about a month ago when he went out for another rehab assignment. So he met with Dr. Andrews. They've decided to go ahead and have a third one. There's not a timetable of when he will have the surgery, but sooner rather than later. The sooner he has a surgery, the sooner he could get back to pitching. But it's been a long and tough road for him, but he's going to try and give it one more shot, gentlemen.
Chris, thank you. And as Brett Wallace stands in against Robbie Ray, Mark, it's just an incredible amount of work.
I can't imagine.
That goes into rehabbing once from Tommy John surgery. Add it again twice, and now he's going to try for a third time.
Like I said, never been there. I can't imagine what a player goes through under the knife for the third time. The hours upon hours and hours of rehab and work. And hey, we wish him luck. No doubt about that.
An incredible commitment at this point in his career, and he's had a nice career. Obviously, the injuries have hurt him the last couple of seasons, but he's done some great things on the baseball field and going to give it another shot. 3 balls and a strike to Wallace, who was.
I got a solution.
2. On the ground and into the shift on the right side. Diving play by Drury, and he can't come up with it. Arizona had student body right against Brett Wallace, but he kind of hit it where they ain't, and it's an infield single for Brett Wallace.
Well, as Brett Wallace beats the shift here, he just hits it perfectly. Can't get it cleanly, and that's a point for Chris Budd.
Leading the way and pick the stick. She took Wally tonight. Former Sun Devil getting the opportunity to start here in Phoenix.
You know, they can replace hips and replace knees and shoulders and all that stuff. Why can't they replace, like, the Tommy John ligament with some type of alloy or something?
Jed Jerko fouls off the first pitch. So instead of taking a ligament from a cadaver, which
Correct.
is what they do, just come up with a more mechanical solution. It's an interesting question.
And I'm sure it's been talked about. So it's nothing new.
I'm sure you're not the first guy to think of it, but no, I get what you're saying.
It's amazing what an 1.25 inch sized ligament can do for a guy's career.
Jerko rips that one foul down the left field line, 0-2. I don't know much about ligaments and how easy or not they are to replicate scientifically, but I imagine not simple. You know, like a hip, it's like a plate. You know,
Yeah.
it's less malleable, right?
Is it the ligament itself, or is it the bone that it's connecting to that is the issue? Does that make sense?
Sure. I don't know the answer.
Right.
I'll give you a little homework assignment. You got a day off tomorrow. You talk to some people around the game of baseball, and we'll talk about it on Friday night in Denver.
Because it seems like there would be 2 elements: the ligament itself, and then the ligament attached to the bone, which has to take.
Close at first, but Wallace is back.
Interesting stuff, either way you look at it.
It is one of the absolute big things in baseball right now. Teams trying to figure out how to best manage guys' workloads so that they don't wear out their elbows. They don't need that procedure. And if somebody's able to come up with an answer for it, it could change the game. Because all around baseball, every single team seems to be impacted every single year, be it at the big league level or in the minor leagues. Still 0-2 to Jerko, who is battling Robbie Ray. Holds off on that one.
Looks like Ray tilted back a little bit on that breaking ball, trying to go to the back foot with that curve ball of his.
Well, that's something you noticed in the first inning.
And it's just a little bit. But hitters can pick up on that.
Wallace at first with nobody out. Scoreless game, top of the second. And the 1-2 to Jerko. He's again spoiled foul. Well, we're talking about Tommy John surgeries and elbow ligaments. The kid Alec Asher for the Phillies, who we saw pitch the Sunday game in his major league debut a couple of weeks ago at Citizens Bank Park. He's the guy that had Tommy John surgery at age 14.
Oh.
23 years old now, and his family just finished paying off the procedure. $22,000.
Oh my goodness.
Like last year they paid it off. Went to Philadelphia in the Cole Hamels trade with Texas.
So no copay on that one. You're shelling out the whole
out of pocket. Good little battle here between Robbie Ray and Jed Jerko. 8th pitch of the at bat is coming up, and the 2-2 is hit in the air to right field, pretty shallow as Inciarte comes in. They'll make the catch for the first out. Wallace back to first, and Corey Spangenberg coming up. Tonight's game presented in HD by Sony 4K.
You know what a different feel this ballpark has when the roof is open, the panels are open. I prefer it like this. You know, we're into September. It's starting to cool down a little bit as far as people in Arizona are concerned.
Yeah, it's only 97.
Mid-90s, yeah.
Yeah, hey, no big deal.
It's really not.
No, it's
actually quite pleasant.
Comfortable, borderline comfortable. We do have a little AC in here, though, right? Mm-hmm. We're not totally in the elements. Spangenberg takes a fastball out of the zone, 1-0. Yeah, second straight night we've had the roof open here, and last night the first time since June 6th, and there are those panels you're talking about. Sometimes they only open the panels, or they open the roof and close the panels. But yeah, only 97 at first pitch. So open it up.
Bring it on.
Had a huge storm on Monday night when the roof was closed outside. There's rain coming through the closed roof. There's a power surge. The water system in the city got all messed up. It was a big deal here. And we know a lot of rain in San Diego last couple of days as well. Hope everybody is managing that all right, staying safe. Brett Wallace with a leadoff single into the shift in shallow right field, and now Corey Spangenberg lining one. Did he catch that? Oh my goodness.
It happened so quickly I really couldn't tell.
I think right into the Diamondback dugout. Couldn't tell who it was. Just reached out the hand and made the catch. 2-2 from Ray to Spangenberg.
Breaking ball. No, fastball.
Corey has hits in 6 of his last 7 games and having himself a nice little series here in Phoenix. 2 for 4, drove in 3 on Monday. On base a couple of more times in last night's game, singled and walked. 2-2, swings and misses, strike 3. Second strikeout for Robbie Ray, second out here in the second inning.
Well, this looks like a sweeping breaking ball, a slider. He throws the curveball and the shorter breaking slider. More like the same plane, a little bit of tilt, but not as much tilt and depth as that curveball that he throws as well.
Melvin Upton Jr. making his 39th start of the season. He's out in center field, as he has been in the previous 38 starts. And he takes a fastball up and away. Melvin grounded out as a pinch hitter in the 9th inning of last night's game. We did not see him on Monday night. Swings through the fastball, 1-1.
Ray changing speeds on the fastball, adding and subtracting. He's gotten it up to 97. That was a 93 1-mile-an-hour fastball down and away.
First start for Melvin Upton since the last game of the homestand, that Thursday afternoon game against the Rockies. 2 balls and a strike now to the Padres center fielder. Two and two.
A pretty good command as far as the arm side with that fastball. That seems to be his comfort zone when it comes to the fastball. Handful of pitches to the right-handed hitters away, hitting that corner.
20th start of the year for the 23-year-old Robbie Ray. And Upton hits that one foul the other way. His last start was a little bit of a weird one. Friday night against the Dodgers, his offense gave him all kinds of help. The Diamondbacks led 10-0 after 2 innings, and he did not make it out of the 5th inning. Did not qualify for the victory. Think about that as a pitcher. You're up 10-0 after 2, and you can't get through the 5th. Inside, ball 3. Coming out of that start, one of the things he said he's got to be better about moving forward is the tempo out on the mound. He got a little bit too deliberate and lost some of the rhythm. Wallace will go, and the 3-2 is outside, ball 4. So the leadoff man aboard, and now a 2-out walk. Runners on first and second with Austin Hedges coming up.
Catcher number 18.
Sorry about that.
Austin Hedges.
Maybe he did go 5. But either way, you get a 10-0 lead. Oh, yeah. Talking about Robbie Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lead like that, you got to go at least 7. Got to limit the walks.
Yeah, he went 5. I apologize.
No worries.
95 pitches.
Wow.
In the 5 innings.
Well, Tyson Ross in the no decision last night, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. He threw 106 pitches.
Yeah, it's a called strike to start Hedges off. 0-1.
I think those pitches a little bit inside. Oh, yeah.
Saltalamacchia caught it awkwardly, too. Usually that hurts a pitcher. That one down, 1-1.
And that's one of those twofold. Austin Hedges can't say anything. One is he's a rookie. I mean, Tom Helling has been in the league over 20-plus years. And secondly, he's the catcher for the Padres. He can't gripe at that because he's going to want that same call when his guy's out there.
Hedges starting back-to-back games. Derek Norris bruised the hand in 5th inning on Monday night. Maybe available to pinch hit. Goldschmidt goes to second, and that's a headsy play by the Arizona first baseman. He was already facing that way, knew he needed just the 1 out, and he's able to get the force at second base as Robbie Ray works around trouble here in the 2nd. Nicely done by Goldie defensively. The series is the starting pitching. James Shields on Monday night, and then Tyson Ross last night. A 1.38 ERA out of the starters in their 13 innings. But then The previous 3 starts for the Padres starting pitchers, an 11.37 earned run average. Andrew Cashner going to try and keep this thing rolling tonight.
Yeah, the 368 opponent's batting average in the previous 3. The opposition hitting some mistakes, falling behind. Hitters taking advantage of some poor pitches, and James Shields, always a battler out there on the hill.
Just a run on 4 hits in 7 innings.
Yeah, he pitched really well.
Last night, Tyson Ross, a run on 4 hits in 6 innings.
I'd like to see Cash go 8. Go deep. How about go deep on both ends, into the game and at the dish?
Well, you know he's capable of it.
Yep.
Saltalamacchia takes strike 1 as Cash goes back to work. Back-to-back singles to open up the first, but he worked around it. And this one lined right to Melvin Upton Jr., who makes the catch. Saltalamacchia out. And it's early, but with Andrew Cashner on the mound, that's a good time to check the Cholula flamethrower.
Oh, flamethrower he is. Nothing mild about the Conroe Comet. Andrew Cashner, what do we got going tonight? 97.
What's that?
Hot sauce!
I'll get you some water
Please.
after the inning.
Dairy product.
Left-handed hitting Jake Lamb, third baseman, takes fastball strike on the inside corner. Came on in the 8th inning as part of a double switch last night. Struck out against Joaquin Benoit in the 8th, his only at-bat. Had a couple of hits in the opening game of this series on Monday night. Among rookie leaders in several offensive categories here in the National League. Lamb came into the season as the 5th best prospect in the Diamondback organization. Finds himself behind Andrew Cashner, 1 and 2.
That is a nice fastball right there. 94 inside part of the plate, a little bit of movement, bringing it back. Put him away here. How about a slider down and in?
Leaves that one over the plate, and it's hit in the air to right field. Long run for Kemp, but that one's really hanging up. And on the warning track, he'll make the catch. A couple of quick outs for Cash here in the 2nd.
That slider, you better be careful. Righty on lefty, you can speed up his bat, right? That's why you really got to bury it, especially with 2 strikes. Oh, catches too much of the plate. And may have gotten away with him right there. But you know what, though? That's a big league hang with him.
For Jake Lamb it is.
Yeah, sometimes you get away with those. Sometimes, hey, sometimes they're circling the bases.
Drury fouls that one off his ankle. 0-1. Started at third base last night. Diamondbacks, one of those teams that they move a lot of guys around on the infield. Not just because it's September, although that certainly adds to it. You see guys starting at third one night, second the next, sometimes shortstop. Chip Hale still looking for the right combination here in the final couple of weeks of the season. They feel good about the bats they've got moving forward. Got to figure out the pitching. 0-1 to Drury, and fouls that one back towards the Arizona dugout.
How about the Diamondbacks and the Padres? Tonight's game, both deadlocked at 4.08 ERAs.
Team ERAs?
Team ERAs for the pitching staff. Yep.
Coming into the year, I would not have guessed 4.08 for the Padres.
I would have lost that bet.
Oh, 2 to Drury, and he takes outside and low. Ball 1. You know, it's going to be a thing to do when the season is over for A.J. Preller and this front office to go back and review the season, try and figure out what they liked, what they didn't, what to change, what to keep. A lot of evaluation will be taking place because this season, hey, it did not go the way anybody expected it to go. Pat Murphy's been on the job since June. Drury hits that one to Jerko, comes out in front of it. Makes a nice throw across the diamond at a 1-2-3 second inning for Andrew Cashner. No score in Phoenix. by Geico, July of 2013 here at Chase Field. Andrew Cashner goes deep against Josh Colmenter for his first career home run. Big moment for the big Texan. How about that? You can see the back of his neck.
Yeah, sans mullet. Oh, he was so fired up. Back to the scene of the crime.
This time against Robbie Ray, who starts him off with a fastball on the inside corner. 0-1. Cash this season hitting .093. He's driven in a run. Seen him try to bunt for hits. And he tops that one foul. Behind 0-2. Pretty good swing on that home run against
Really
Colmenter. Ray ahead of him 0-2. And now a ball and 2 strike to the Padre pitcher. Tyson Ross in last night's game led off the 3rd inning, as Andrew is. Singled and scored. Curveball misses way high. 2-2. Seen a good number of Padre fans here throughout this entire series.
Love it.
It was a party on Monday night with a big lead. Cash takes, and that's a ball. So from 0-2 to 3-2 for Andrew Cashner against Robbie Ray.
And right here, you got to be thinking fastball. He's going to challenge him with a fastball, I bet.
He does, and Cashner hits it to Goldschmidt, who is handcuffed by it. And Andrew Cashner is aboard to lead off the 3rd inning. It was hit hard, and they're going to give him an infield single, 2nd of the night for San Diego.
Left fielder Will Myers.
Hey, it's Gold Glover over there. Ball hit hard. It's got some funky Cole Medina spin on it. Oh, that's a knock. That's a big league knock.
Yeah, this infield, it can play fast, right? Grass and the dirt, pretty hard.
You know, I think that's got to be an error, though. I'm all for Cash getting the hit.
Will Myers chops that one to 3rd. Lamb goes to 2nd for 1. The return to 1st, not in time. Nearly the 2nd double play hit into by the Padres tonight, but Myers with enough speed to beat it out. Cashner eliminated at 2nd base.
Tomorrow on Aztec Football with Rocky Long, go on the field and experience the intensity of an Aztec practice with new wide receiver coach Hunky Cooper. Hunky, big fan. Chris Budd does a great job on that show. Plus, the Aztecs return to Qualcomm Stadium on Saturday. Find out what Coach Long and the team expect to see from the South Alabama Jaguars tomorrow at 9:30 on Fox Sports San Diego.
How about Ted Leitner last week? Saturday, calls the Aztecs and the Cal Bears in Berkeley, and then gets down to AT&T Park for the Padre game against the Giants. Doubleheader.
Yeah. Here's Teddy. And there's Marcus.
Ah, not again. So mean. Check over at first base. Myers had a small lead.
Yeah, what a bizarre day for Teddy, huh? Bizarre.
Guy's been the producer engineer for like 22 years, and you're scribbling over his face. Another check on Myers. Will has stolen 4 bases this year in 6 attempts.
With the lefty out there, cuts down on the running game at times. That's why if you pick to run, it's when that first move is made. It's a do or die. As soon as that right foot from Ray is up, if you're going to go, you go.
Solarte grounded into a double play his first time up and takes that fastball low.
By the way, did you see Andrew Cashner slide hard into second base on that ground ball on that 5-4 on the fielder's choice?
No surprise.
He went in hard, man. Hard ball.
Baseball player. Yeah, you're right. A lot of pitchers, they'll just peel off.
Yeah. You're right. They will peel off.
It's going to end up in shallow right field. They want no part of it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the Conroe Comet going in to second base. Here's the 5-4, and watch Andrew. Good clean slide. Right into the bag.
Yeah.
Pop-up slide. Perfect.
Make a great point, though, because if he gets out of the way, who knows? Maybe they do turn the double play.
He stayed tall for a long time, too.
Yeah. Those little things could be the difference sometimes. Solarte fouls another one back. Robbie Ray's thrown a lot of pitches so far. 56 in 2 1/3.
Mentioned earlier he can be a little wild at times. He can wild in the zone too. You know, the fastball to me looks a little straight. So you hang one of those fastballs at 95, you could turn it around.
Solarte hits that one, and it could be 2. 6, 4, and 3. For the second time tonight, Yangervis Solarte grounds into a double play. This one ends the 3rd inning. Still no score at Chase Field. Third, as we take a look at the National University standings in the National League Central. Pirates and the Cubs are playing tonight, a big series, and it could be the wild card matchup, Pittsburgh and Chicago. So here are the 2 aces. Arrieta for the Cubs started tonight. Garrett Cole for the Pirates. What a matchup that could be in the National League wild card game.
I would go with Arrieta. I would go with Cole also, and they're locked up at 2, bottom of the 3rd from PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
I think that scoreboard was wrong. I believe they are in the bottom of the 9th.
They are in the bottom of the 9th. Wow, that game moves quickly.
Pace of play.
They just went from the 3rd to the 9th. But here's why Arrieta. First of all, he's, one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. And secondly, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're 4th in the National League in stolen bases. Cut down the running game. With Lester, you can run on him.
Hey, Lester got somebody yesterday. First one all
Saw
season.
that.
Finally threw over to first base. Oh, I'm with you. I like Arrieta. There you go, bottom of the 9th. I like Arrieta if I'm the Cubs, but they're going to have to manipulate the rotation possibly. I don't know how it lines up,
Sure.
but it's not necessarily as easy as saying, hey, I want this guy to start that one game.
Well, there's no tomorrow. Wild card game, right?
I understand, but if he's lined up to pitch on Saturday of the last weekend of the season and they need maybe that game or whatever, they might have to move some things around.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Garrett Cole last year for Pittsburgh, as Owings lines that one to Brett Wallace, was unable to go in that wild card game. And didn't work out so nicely for the Buccos.
No Jolly Roger.
They did not raise it. Speaking of those potential playoff matchups, by the way, don't look now, but the Nats have won a couple in a row. Mets have lost a couple in a row. 7.5 game lead still for New York, but 3 games left between those 2 teams. Final weekend of the season. Pitcher Robbie Ray takes strike 1 from Cash, who goes right back with a fastball and misses outside. Mark Grace on the bench with Chip Hale. And Ray tops that one over to Wallace, who handles it all by himself. A couple of putouts for Brett Wallace here in the 3rd inning. And Andrew Cashner trying to get on a nice little roll here as we take a look at our top tier player profile, brought to you by Arco. Leadoff man A.J. Pollock How about that? National League ranking. Second in hits, second in runs, fourth in stolen bases, sixth in batting average, all from the guy setting the table for the Diamondbacks.
That's kind of a stealth year, isn't it?
Yeah.
As Mark Sweeney alluded to it the other day, probably one of the most underrated players in all of baseball right now. He just does so many things right.
Andrew Cashner misses, and he provides plenty of pop, too, last night off of Kevin Quackenbush. First pitch he saw, 3-run homer to put the Diamondbacks in front. That turned out to be the difference of the game. Hits that one well to left. And it will get over Will Myers and hop over the fence for a ground rule double. Myers came in, then went back. Don't think he was going to have a chance to catch it either way.
Ball's hit on the line pretty hard.
Yeah. So a 2-out double, and Pollock single double right off the bat. 35th of the year.
Let's check out the location out in the hand of Andy once it's down and away. That's a hanging slider that just kind of rolls up there. And Pollock, with the way he's swinging the bat, he's not going to miss too many of those. Catches it out in front. Track, fan, back in play. I've got E fan. Yeah.
That keeps it going for Ender Inciarte, who's done a really nice job with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this year. Hitting over 400 in his last 16 home games. And Cashner spikes one. Nice job by Hedges using the chest protector to keep it around home plate. Pollock stays put.
Well, mechanically sound. We talk about pitchers and hitters mechanically sound. How about Austin Hedges? Squares up those shoulders, takes it right in the chest protector. And yeah, it's going to hit the hitter sometimes. But the main objective is to keep that ball in front of you so it doesn't dart off to the right or the left.
Derek Norris on the bench for the second straight game after leaving Monday night's contest in the 5th inning. Taking a foul ball off the hand. Pollock goes, and the pitch is hit right to Solarte, who wouldn't have been there had the runner not been going. He throws across to get Inciarte, and that's it for the Diamondbacks here in the 3rd. 2-out double goes for naught. Andrew Cashner doing work. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag SDDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
I have not.
Dude, it is one of the most unbelievable experiences ever.
Yeah, no. Lake Powell there and the stars overhead. Gotta go. Gotta get it done.
Man.
Matt Kemp leading off against Robbie Ray. Scoreless game, top of the 4th inning. You know, each of the last 2 years during spring training, I said I'm going to take some time during spring training.
You owe it to yourself.
It's just tough to get it in the one day. Over to Lamb at third base, makes the play. Kemp grounds out. He's 0 for 2.
Well, let's see what happens for these Padre hitters second time around against Ray.
First baseman, Brett
Made a nice pitch there to Matt Kemp down to keep it on the ground. Hey, the home runs, not a factor for Robbie Ray. He does a fine job of keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Very few home runs allowed, and just one all season to a left-handed hitter. And 103 at-bats against left-handed hitting.
Yeah, this being his 20th start of the year, he's only given up 7 long balls.
Brett Wallace has 3 home runs as a pinch hitter, 4 on the season. And he takes a strike from Ray. Wallace cleaning up for the first time this year, making his 8th start, the 5th over at first base. That pitch misses, 1-1. Despite the big comeback for Arizona in the 7th last night, Padres made a little bit of noise in the 8th, and Wallace thought he had drawn a big walk to keep the rally going. But a strike call from home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez kept the at-bat going and led to Pat Murphy's ejection. That was against Brad Ziegler. 1-2 from Ray is right there, but not where Saltalamacchia was set up. 5th time that Murph has been tossed since taking over. Ray missed his spot, didn't get the call, and now comes up and in, 3-2.
Everything's up in the zone except for the one pitch. Pitch number 3, way out of the strike zone, down and away.
Wallace works the count full, and he hits that one over Goldschmidt and into right field. Twice tonight, Brett Wallace has hit the ball to right, and twice he's got a hit, trying to go for 2. Throw comes in, not in time. Brett Wallace, a single and a double against Robbie Ray.
The old Sun Devil, Brett Wallace, thinking he's back at Packard Stadium over in Tempe. Right over the head of Paul Goldschmidt. Pick him up, put him down, big boy. The race is on. Oh, the head first slide, too. Look at the big boy swinging it.
So runner on second, 1 out for Jerko, and Jed takes inside, ball 1. And again, not to obsess over balls and strikes and home plate umpires, but looked like strike 3 to Wallace. That pitch inside when Saltalamacchia was set up outside. It was in the zone.
Yeah.
Didn't get the call. Wallace takes advantage. That is a strike. 1-1.
See, that's why I've never bought. A strike is a strike. No matter how. I don't care if the catcher turns around and catches it behind his back. A strike is a strike. The way a catcher receives it shouldn't dictate whether it's called a ball or a strike.
Well, in the umpire's defense, I mean, it's so hard. Think coming in at 90 miles per hour, and if the catcher has extra
What's
movement.
the difference, though? You're calling it as it crosses the plate, not where he catches it.
That's what we say, and that's what they're supposed to do, but that's a lot more difficult than it sounds. I agree with you. A strike should be a strike. That's why a lot of people, you know it, they're calling for robot umpires.
Yep.
An electronic strike zone.
Hey, I'm all for it.
It's a nearly impossible thing to do in real time with the naked human eye from that position. Call balls and strikes. We're asking so much of these umpires. And with the technology that exists today, when they miss calls, we know immediately. Didn't used to be that way.
Heavy workload for Robbie Ray in the second with 29 tosses.
Jerko popped to right his first time up. Battling here. And he chops that one foul outside of third. Jerko, one of the 4 Padres in franchise history to have 50 or more RBIs in each of his first 3 seasons. Joins the club of Nate Colbert, Khalil Green, and Kevin Kuzmanoff. Led the team in RBIs last year. Matched that total here in 2015. getting a long look at shortstop.
Hey, he's done a fine job.
Don't have one complaint about it, honestly.
Yeah. He's made the plays. He's got the arm for shortstop. He's gone to his right in the hole, made some nice plays.
Goes the other way. Goldschmidt makes the catch and thought about going to second base to try and double up Wallace, but nobody was there defensively. So Jed with a soft line drive to first base, 2 away. And with Wallace on second base, here comes Corey Spangenberg.
Hey, is the everyday shortstop next year? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, quite a bit can change between September 16th and April 4th.
Absolutely.
Nice little run for Spangy. Struck out his first time tonight. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought at this point this year, coming into it, that Corey Spangenberg would have 57 starts at second base? But he has. Saw incredible roster turnover this offseason, of course, for the Padres. Who knows what the next few months hold?
It's almost as if Corey, when he's up at the plate, inviting pitchers to pitch him hard away. How many times have we seen him going down that left field line?
Yeah.
In between the bag, in between the third baseman. Hey, tonight behind the bolt with Nick Hardwick. Nick goes one-on-one with Keenan Allen to discuss his star-studded performance in the season opener. Plus, Nick breaks down Ladarius Green's touchdown against Detroit. That's tonight on Padres Live, right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
2 balls and a strike to Spangenberg with Wallace at second base. 1 out double. His 6th of the year. Now Corey with a base hit may be able to give the Padres a lead. Pitch number 75 for Robbie Ray is swung on and missed. Strike 2.
Yeah, a little two-seam action on that 94 heater.
Ray, originally a 12th round pick of the Nationals in 2010. Traded to the Tigers in the Doug Fister trade, and then came over from Detroit this past December for Didi Gregorius. 2-2. Spangy lines it into right center field. That's going to get Wallace home. Pollock comes over to get it. Wallace crosses the plate, and the Padres strike first. 1-0 here in the top of the 4th. Corey Spangenberg continues to hit the ball well.
He fought that one off. We know that Corey can go the opposite way down the left field line. Look at this pitch here. Ray just doesn't get it in enough. It's up, and Corey get that top hand on top just enough. Who says you have to hit the sweet spot? That's down by the label. Scoring Brett Wallace.
With 2 outs, Wallace scores easily. Pollock, the center fielder, was playing over on the left field side of second base, so he had a long way to go get that one. Now they check on Spangenberg, who is more than capable of taking a base if he wants to. Melvin Upton Jr. walked his first time on. One of 2 free passes issued by Ray so far tonight, and 4 for his last 11. That's why I took him and picked the stick. First pitch of the at-bat, and Melvin fouls it back to the screen.
Okay, I got to drop a family nugget on you right here.
Okay.
Little connection here. Pat Murphy, interim manager of the Padres. My cousin Chris Mahalik pitched for him at Notre Dame, his left-handed pitcher. Chris Mahalik, my cousin, now double-A pitching coach for the Nationals in Hagerstown, had Robbie Ray. Taught him to change up, work on his pickoff move. Chris Mahalik, the winningest left-handed pitcher in Notre Dame history. Pitched for the Irish back in the day. He's watching back in Keller, Texas, with his daughter Madison.
That's a good connection there.
Yeah.
That's nicely done.
Chris pitched a little bit in the big leagues. Good egg.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. Great pickoff move.
Melvin leans away from that one. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He'll probably be a big league pitching coach one of these days. They really like him there in the Nationals organization.
Spangenberg leads. He does not run as Upton fouls that one off at the plate. Spangenberg, with his speed, able to cause all kinds of trouble in the game on Monday night.
Doesn't it cause problems for pitchers, for position players, for catchers? This is the one where Hellish just stepped off and then he yanked it because he's trying to throw it to a moving target, but nobody was there. He spiked it. Resulted in a run as Justin Upton comes around to score.
Padres striking first here in the 4th inning tonight. And that's Hyde to Melvin Upton Jr. 2-2. Spangenberg saw the numbers on a nice run as Justin Upton watches his brother from the dugout. Told before the game he's under the weather. That's why not in the starting lineup tonight. Two and 2. Ball 3.
Good layoff there because that's exactly what Ray wants hitters to do, is swing over the top of that one.
Melvin worked to walk his first time, now a full count, and that'll get Spangenberg off and running. Ray up over 80 pitches here in the 4th. Talked about how he was only able to go 5 innings in his last start through 95 pitches. It's anecdotal at this point, but I feel like we're seeing a lot more of that around baseball.
Absolutely.
Runner goes and Upton swings through the 94-mile-per-hour fastball. 3rd strikeout for Robbie Ray, but the Padres strike. Spangenberg brings home Wallace. 1-0.
But for someone to lose their life doing humanitarian work, I think that alone sets a good example for younger players to see, like, it doesn't matter how good of a player you are, you can be one of the best, and it can still be very worthwhile and very important to give back, and we shouldn't lose sight of that.
Brad Ziegler, the Diamondback closer, talking about the legacy of Roberto Clemente here on Roberto Clemente Day. Just an incredible career that was tragically cut short. And you see all the numbers inducted into the Hall of Fame the next year. They sort of, changed the rules and did make the waiting period be a thing for him, and rightfully so, understandably so.
That's one of those players where I wish I could hop in the Wayback Machine and go back and see him play.
Could do it all.
Oh, the arm, the hustle. And there's that one video of him. He's rounding second base and going into third, and everything's just flying. Knees and elbows and helmet. It just, I think that encapsulated what type of player he was. The way he ran the bases and slid in hard. He played hard.
the on-field, the off-field, both exemplary, and that's what that Roberto Clemente Award is all about. As Andrew Cashner delivers strike 2 to Paul Goldschmidt, and each team nominates a guy each year for the Roberto Clemente Award. And Cash, the nominee this season for the Padres, for a guy that's doing great things in the community and on the diamond. Goldschmidt swings through that fastball at 95. He was late on it, and Cashner has struck out Goldschmidt twice here tonight.
And the fastball away with movement. Two-seamer. That one actually leaks over the outer third of that plate. Very tardy on that one, Paul Goldschmidt.
Career high 12-game hitting streak for Peralta. Grounded into a double play his first time up. That ended the first inning. And he swings here and lines one to right field. That's 13 games on the hitting streak for Peralta, and it's extra bases as Kemp comes up with it. He'll be content with a 2-base hit. Peralta into second with his 25th double of the year. And the Diamondbacks have the tying run in scoring position here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, plain and simple, he's just got a pretty swing. David Peralta, very gifted. He can get to some baseballs and he can hit the ball the other way. He's got some pop.
Jared Saltalamacchia now. Let's check in with Chris, who has some more on Salty's lumber.
Yeah, if you look at he doesn't have it on this one, but some of the bats he uses have a picture on the end of it. If you look real closely, it's a picture of Chuck Norris. That's who he likes to use on his bat. Which month I was wondering, you get to pick any kind of, I guess you call Chuck Norris a superhero, right? Or
who would I choose?
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Of course.
Who go perfectly with your abilities with the bat. Yeah. No respect.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, though. See, that's the great thing about baseball. Football players can't put stickers on their helmet. They'll get a letter from Roger Goodell.
Well, it's on the bat knob. It's not on their helmets.
No. What I'm saying is NFL can't do that. They can't put like a.
They don't have bats.
Okay, smart guy. There's a Salty fan.
Can you spell Saltalamacchia without looking?
Saltalamacchia.
You got it. Got him. Fastball right on the inside corner. Third strikeout for Cashner. Second this inning.
I can also spell Strikeout.
Third baseman.
Two-seam fastball inside corner. Grab some pine. You got to get it in there. Nice.
First time tonight we got to see Tom Hallion punch somebody out.
He's got a unique call.
There you go.
It's really not that hard.
6-syllable name.
How many people at home right now are going, Saltalamacchia?
Lamb takes a fastball inside. 1-0. You're a 1-syllable name, Grant.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Just saying, there's a contrast there with you and Salty. Lamb, good numbers against Cashner. Flew out deep to right field his first time up. Kemp made the catch on the track. Andrew been given a 1-0 lead here in the 4th, trying to keep it that way as the fastball runs inside. 2-0. Big series continuing in Arlington. Mike and Mark will get you caught up on the Lone Star Showdown, speaking of Chuck Norris, between the Astros and the Texas Rangers. So how did it get to 14-3? They'll let you know. It's Texas, so I imagine a couple touchdowns, field goal. That's a strike. 2-1. You know, it's got the longest name in Padre history.
What's that, Jesse?
Longest name in Padre history. There's a new guy this year. Up and in.
Zepchinski.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Now I got to double check myself. No, it's not Quackenbush. I'll get back to you later. Spangenberg's a long one. 3-1 to Lamb is just inside. Ball 4. First walk of the night issued by Cashner. That's encouraging after he walked 5 in 4 2/3 in his last start.
Well, like he went to Saltalamacchia inside. He just missed with that fastball there. Just a little bit inside.
19 pitches of 95 or above for Andrew Cashner, whose average fastball velocity this year is 94.8, 5th highest in the National League. Added 96, a called strike to the second baseman Drury. Middlebrooks, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't seem like that long of a name, but it is.
Yeah.
One more letter than Zepchinski. The more you know.
Sounds like a PSA, right?
Yeah. We're here to serve. 97 on that fastball in the dirt. 1-1.
Hey, Andrew making a good pitch after the double. Strikeout to Goldschmidt, the double strikeout. Now the walk. Got to make a pitch here. Got to make a pitch here, get a grounder. Up to 2 strikes, work for that good pitch and a grounder. 2 strikes, then go for the kill and the strikeout.
Drury grounded out to shortstop his first time up. And he takes that pitch low. 2-1. A lot of fastballs overall tonight, it seems, from Andrew Cashner. Next strikeout will be his 150th on the season. New career high. Andrew previously had struck out 128 in a single year. Peralta at second, Lamb at first. 2-1, and Drury takes inside, ball 3. San Francisco on Friday night. Cashner took the loss, allowed 5 runs on 9 hits in 4 2/3. Mentioned the 5 walks through 117 pitches. Much more economical here tonight.
Jesse, I'm guessing fastball right here. Challenge him with a good fastball down and away. Oh, slider. Nice. Very nice. Hey, that shows you something. Confidence. 3-1. Hitters count, and he pulls the string on it. And judging by the way that Drury took that one, he's looking for the heater. You throw him another one here. You throw it 3-1 to go 3-2. Why not throw another slider here? But he could be thinking, you know what, I'm going to try to throw the 96, 97 mile an hour fastball down and away.
Goes that direction, 98, and misses, and now the base is loaded. Back-to-back 2-out walks.
And you know what? I have a feeling that if he did pepper that outside corner, he would have gotten it. His reaction tells us everything. Missing down and away, and Andrew showed a little frustration there. And Darren Balsley giving a little bit of a blow this inning. Very quick to the point. Now you got some work to do, big boy.
It would be an interesting thing to track, and I don't think I've seen any of the numbers websites doing this, but a starting pitcher, the half inning after he's given a lead, I see how different guys, react to that. And
shut it down, how they shut it down.
Yeah. Cash trying to shut it down here in the bottom of the 4th. He was given a 1-0 lead in the top of this inning, and now 2 outs and the base is loaded. Peralta, Lamb, and Drury. Back to the windup for Cash, and Owings swings at the first pitch and lines it into right field. Peralta's going to come in to score to tie it. Here comes Lamb. The throw to the plate, not in time, and the Diamondbacks have a 2-1 lead. Number 8 hitter Chris Owings comes up with a 2-run single.
Swinging early as well. Andrew wanting to get ahead with the fastball. Boy, Owings does a nice job with that 2-seamer, staying inside it, and then with 2 outs, the crack from the bat, everybody's off and running, and Andrew backing up, thank goodness. That ball gets a little bit more over his head. It's back to the screen, but Andrew cut that one off after the hop at the plate.
First hit of the series for Owings. Had been 0 for 8 Pitcher Ray stands in, swings at the first pitch, and does send it back to the screen. 0-1. Ray grounded out to Brett Wallace at first base. His first time up. He's 0 for 1. 3 for 26 in his career. RBI single from Spangenberg put the Padres on top. Now a 2-run single from Owings, who takes off, but Ray swings and misses at the fastball. Cashner strikes out the side but gives up the lead. 2-run single for Owings. Diamondbacks on top 2-1. (11-4), and they've now won 6 straight games against the Astros.
And horrible road record for the Houston Astros this year. I mean, when I say horrible, it's horrible. Houston on the road this year, 29-44 prior to today's game.
So 29-45 up-to-date standings in the National League West as Austin Hedges leads off the top of the 5th inning. And you just heard Mike say it, and Mark, there will be a lead for the Rangers no matter what happens in the last game of that series tomorrow. Hedges hits that one hard down the right field line, but foul. 1-2. Souvenir for the little dude.
That guy's in full uni in the Padre hat and jersey behind him. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with that ball.
Hedges hits that one on the ground. Drury at second was playing him that way. Makes the play. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Andrew Cashner singled his first time up, hit it hard to Paul Goldschmidt, who was handcuffed by it.
Pitcher Andrew Cashner.
One of the 4 Padre hits tonight. Ray delivers a fastball on the inside corner, 0-1. That hit brought Cash's average on the season into triple digits, now at 109. The 0-2 is outside. And now 2-2. Seen this a few times tonight from Robbie Ray, getting ahead of guys and not being able to finish them off.
2 strikes, foul balls, deep counts. Hey, Andrew Cashner, he worked a 3-2 count last time, correct? Before that hit?
Yeah. And strike 3 called. 4th for Ray. 2 gone here in the 5th as we take a look at our fans of the game, brought to you by San Diego. Got the glove on the head, the World Series hat, mixing eras, souvenir soda. Good night at the ball yard.
Diamond snacks.
Delicious. With a big D. That's what they call them here.
Yeah. Like to see Will run into one.
Walk and a ground out. And now a ball. 1-1. Myers 7 home runs on the season. Hit 13 in 88 games when he won the Rookie of the Year in the American League a couple of seasons ago. Now ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike.
Left hand all taped up. You know, Will does not wear batting gloves, so you know you get some hot spots, you get some blisters, some calluses.
Talk about home runs and Will Myers, though. He's got a couple of cool pieces of history. When he played for the Rays, new Yankee Stadium opened up. He hit the first grand slam at the new Yankee Stadium, and not on the same day, the first inside the park home run at the new Yankee Stadium. Outside, ball 3.
Anyway, getting back to his hands.
I thought you had moved on.
I'm kidding.
First visiting player,
I'm kidding.
by the way, to a conference.
No, those are nice little nuggets to have under your belt as a big leaguer. Ooh, see, now that's a strike, I think. I think Will Myers, he caught a break there. Hey, a walk is great, but I think he got a call there. And look at pitch number 6. But because of the way Saltalamacchia was set up, he set up away, and watch how he has to reach across there. See, I don't think that should come into play for an umpire. A strike's a strike. But good for Will Myers with the walk.
That one not as blatant as the Brett Wallace one earlier. Before Wallace's double, there was a pitch really in the meat of the strike zone that got missed because of that same thing. Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, out to work to Robbie Ray. 2-out walk to Myers. Second free pass of the night for Will. And Solarte coming up, who's grounded into 2 double plays tonight.
Okay, let me ask you this. Picture this, an umpire behind a catcher.
Yeah.
There's a black, like, curtain with just the umpire's face through it. And the curtain is draped. No, I'm serious. And the curtain is draped over the catcher.
Like a puppet show?
Yeah. And the curtain is over the catcher, right? An umpire should be able to still call a ball or a strike of the trajectory of the ball crossing the plate without the influence of whether the catcher catches it or not.
Yeah, but it's like coming in at 96 with movement. I can understand. I'm not saying it should matter, but I can understand why it might be difficult for a human being to do that. Like you said, Tom Hallion is a respected veteran umpire, a crew chief. He's been at it for a couple of decades.
I have all the respect in the world for Tom Hallion.
It's a hard thing to do.
I'm not saying it's not. Randall Delgado is heating up for the Diamondbacks.
Solarte hits that one on the ground, but it's going to get past the shortstop Owings this time into center field. 2-out single for Solarte. Twice he had hit it to Owings, that time past him. And that'll get Matt Kemp to the plate And there is Randall Delgado.
Well, this is why the Padres acquired a guy like Matt Kemp. Situations just like this. Third time around for the veteran outfielder. Multiple base runners. And there you see the numbers with runners in scoring position this year.
Leading RBI man on the Padre team. With an RBI opportunity here. Padres down a run, 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Big swing from Kemp and a foul ball, 0-1. 94 RBIs for Matt. Only Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado have more in the National League. Third time through the order. Things get a little bit tastier for the offense against Robbie Ray. Myers and Solarte lead. The 0-1 to Kemp is outside. Ball and a strike. Great second half for Matt. 47 of the 94 runs batted in coming after the All-Star break. They've come in big spots too. More go-ahead RBIs than anybody in the National League. Hits that one well out to right, and Ciarte's going back. He's still going back. He's not going to get there. It's a 3-run homer. And another go-ahead RBI for Matt Kemp. Padres right back on top. A 2-out rally here in the 5th and a 2-run lead.
And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world. You may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. You may find yourself taking a fastball the opposite way here at Chase Field and taking the first breaking ball, foul. Second pitch, fastball. He went back to the well, fastball, gone. That is a nice swing for Matt Kemp. We've seen it many times this year. Two-seamer away, stayed on it. Upper half of the body going out and getting it, not pulling off. That's nice.
2-run lead after the 3-run bomb. Top, a 3-run shot to take a 2-run lead, and Chip Hale goes to the bullpen to retrieve Randall Delgado. The pitching change is brought to you by El Cajon Ford.
We saw the right-hander last night over third of an inning. He struck out one Padre. That was in the 7th inning.
Only batter he faced, Will Myers, and here Brett Wallace takes a fastball low.
Delgado out of the pen, going from the full windup.
Wallace 2 for 2, single, double, run scored, and now 1-1. We were talking in the bottom of the 4th about pitchers giving up leads after their team gives them the lead. Robbie Ray doing that here in the 5th.
Was that a pretty swing from Matt Kemp? Stayed on it nicely.
It's just effortless power the
It
other way.
is.
It's incredible. You know how you always talk about Andrew Cashner sort of effortlessly throwing 96, 97?
Free and easy.
Free and easy. Same kind of thing with Kemp's swing. It doesn't look like a big power swing, and next thing you know, the ball goes 400 feet.
And when everything is mechanically sound from both ends, pitching and hitting, when you connect like that, all that energy goes towards the barrel of the bat. All the energy for a pitcher out of the arm to the hand. And it's all in unison, and bang. All working as one, like a golfer. Who's the golfer, not big in stature? I think, was it Davis Love III or whatever? Not really that big in stature. But with his, what did he drive the ball? 3, whatever it is? He's a big hitter, right?
Freddie Couples, another
Freddie
great example.
Couples. But, these guys got everything working in order to where they just drive the ball. Same principle in baseball.
Wallace goes down looking, but the damage done. Matt Kemp, RBIs 95, 96, and 97 on the season. 2-run lead for the Pods. For tonight's game is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Matt Kemp, big fly with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning to put the Padres on top. All 4 San Diego runs tonight coming with 2 outs. They have chased Robbie Ray, and now Andrew Cashner back to work trying to preserve the 2-run lead. Top of the order for Arizona, A.J. Pollock, to be followed by Inciarte and Goldschmidt.
And Jesse, we say this all the time. Quickly throw up a 0, get back in that dugout, and go to Hackett.
Pollock's having a nice series to go with his nice season. Talking earlier about the Astros and the Rangers series, and Jose Altuve of Houston, the only other big leaguer besides Pollock to have at least 30 doubles and 30 stolen bases this year. It's a 2-man club. Different kind of 30-30. Pollock chops this one. Cashner off the mound, bare hand. Not in time. Andrew Cashner did absolutely everything he could, but a swinging bunt from A.J. Pollock, and he's aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
Well, just when you anticipate A.J. Pollock either single into right center field or hitting a double to the left center field gap, the movement, the 2-seamer of Andrew Cashner comes into play. It's topped, and then the race is on. Andrew, being athletic as ever on that mound, did everything he could to try to make that play. Infield single.
So the leadoff man aboard for the Diamondbacks, and the tying run will come to the plate here in the bottom of the 5th. Ender Inciarte grounded out to 3rd his last time. Lifts the first pitch into the air into center field. Melvin Upton comes in and makes the catch. So there's one out for Cash. Pollock back to first base. Paul Goldschmidt coming up, and great numbers on the season. Good numbers against Cash in his career, but not tonight, not so far.
It's all about the location of the slider and the fastball for Goldschmidt. The first at-bat, slider down and always swing and a miss. Fastball up above the belt, outer half. See the plan here? Keeping the ball away to Goldschmidt. Doesn't mean you can't come inside. If you come inside, you better get it well inside. He can turn out a good pitch on the inside part of the plate.
Hedges sets up away, and the fastball misses outside. 1-0. Cashner has 4 strikeouts tonight, 2 of them by Goldschmidt, both swinging, as you just saw. That one a called strike right on the corner as they continue to work away.
See him take a little bit off. 91 creates more movement when you do that.
Perfect pitch as Pollock steps off the lead. Back to Cashner, should be 2 to Spangenberg. Double play.
Nice. Andrew
Andrew Cashner starts the 1-4-3 twin killing, and he does preserve the lead. Padres on top by 2 as we go to the 6th. Can help himself at the plate and in the field. Cashner starting the twin killing. Together in the heart of San Diego by Mercury Insurance. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today and see how much you could save. And by Kona Brewing Company. One life, right? Don't blow it. Mahalo. Padre fans howling at the moon in excitement here in Phoenix. Matt Kemp going deep. Big 3-run homer in the 5th inning to put the Padres on top. Andrew Cashner doing his part on the mound and defensively as the Padres try and take this series. They have not won a series at this ballpark since July of 2013.
You know what? Ever since the Diamondbacks have come into the National League, this place has been the house of horrors for the San Diego Padres. Not good overall. I'm talking since day one.
Randall Delgado got the final out of the 5th. He stays in to start the 6th inning. You want to know something crazy about the Kemp homer?
I want to hear something crazy.
Just the second 3-run home run this year for him. Every single one of his previous 21 homers, with one exception, was a solo shot or a 2-run homer.
Really?
Yeah. Guy's not getting on base in front of him when he's hitting home runs.
By the way, all-time record here at Chase Field. Padres 56 and 101.
Basically losing 2 out of 3 every time.
Yep.
If you average it out. Two to Jerko, and he reaches for that one and fouls it back.
Going back to that double play. Sure, it was nice. Looks good in your scorecard, 1-4-3. Andrew Cashner fielding his position and firing a pellet strike to second base. That's huge. There are a lot of pitchers out there who can't fire a strike to second base.
You see it all the time.
Yeah.
They either throw it into the ground or the ball ends up in the outfield.
Yep.
And what a momentum swing that can be, because you're talking about what could be an inning-ending double play or a big double play with nobody out, and then all of a sudden guys are still running. It can be a huge moment in a game, and Cashner handled it perfectly. It's easy to say, hey, a big league pitcher should make that play, but like you said, a lot of times they don't. Payoff pitch to Jett is up and in, ball 4. Leadoff walk here in the 6th.
Hey, you think it's easy to catch a fly ball?
I do not.
Well, some fans think it's easy. Some fans, you know what? Some fans, they take it right off the noggin.
Oh, no.
Oh, off the hand, off the noggin. He goes down.
Oh.
But this guy's a gamer. He picks up the pieces. He does a little shop work. He gets a band. He gets a band right between and puts his glasses back together. He's back in the saddle.
Oh, my goodness. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
They're talking to him on the Fox Sports Arizona telecast. So he's taped up the glasses. He's got the Band-Aid. I hope somebody got him, like, yeah, exactly. I hope somebody got him.
Cuidado.
Souvenir of something, you know, a signed ball. That was a direct shot.
Oh.
Through the hands. Yeah, let's take
it's
another
worth
look at
another
it.
look.
Well, the guy screens him with the glove, maybe.
Oh, don't make excuses. The ball's got to be caught.
The fingers, too, on the right hand, they bent back. That's insult to injury, right? Nothing in 2 to Spangenberg.
That's a tough day in the big leagues right
Yeah,
there.
it is. Now they're talking to him about it on TV.
Guy's going to be on Fallon and Colbert.
Yep. All over the place. 0-2 to Spangenberg, who drove in the first run of this game. His last time up, swings and misses there. Second strikeout for Delgado.
Hey, he did a nice job on the repair work of the glasses.
Yeah, he's handy. They're still talking to him. Looks like he's being a good sport about it, which is nice.
His pupils look like they're not dilated, so he's pretty good. I'm sure he was checked out.
Yeah, they give him the concussion protocol, all that kind of thing. That's important these days.
Does that mean he can't come to the yard for 7 days?
Yeah, they took his helmet away from him. Melvin Upton with a big swing and a miss. 0-1 on the Padres center fielder, who has walked and struck out tonight. Padres led 1-0, fell behind 2-1, now up 4-2. Lays off there, a ball and 2 strikes. Said earlier, Upton starting for the 39th time this season. He's pinch hit quite a bit for the Padres, and in fact has the 4th best pinch hitting average in the National League. Swings and misses there. Strike 3. Second time Upton is gone down. And third of the night for Delgado since coming on in the last inning.
Third strikeout now for Delgado. What is it? Looks like a changeup. Even though that ball leaks in, middle in. Took some off that changeup and way out in front of it. Hey, we got a game break coming up. Buccos, Cubbies from PNC Park.
Great game between these two teams. Last we checked, they were in extras. Here's Austin Hedges with 2 outs. And that one squirts away from Saltalamacchia, but Jerko will not advance. Padres trying to cash in on the leadoff walk to Jed Jerko. Hedges flinches, takes that one inside, 2-0. Day off tomorrow. Another day for Derek Norris to rest that hand and maybe reassess over the weekend in Colorado. Hedges hits that one hard over to third. Nice backhand play by Lamb. Long throw, and he got him. That's why they call it the hot corner. Nicely handled by Jake Lamb at third base. Hedges grounds out for the third time tonight. It's all good, man. Bring a glove.
Mark Sweeney dropping a melon.
Got to protect the melon.
Oh, I love it. That's great stuff.
Nice work by Andrew Kashner tonight. As encouraging as anything, just the 67 pitches as David Peralta lifts this one towards Melvin Upton Jr. in center field. One away. Cash pitching and protecting a 2-run lead. Yeah, the fan that took the foul ball off the face, they had him up on the big board here.
He's
between
gonna be a
innings.
star.
He is absolutely going to be a star in Phoenix. He's tipping his hat to the crowd. He's taking bows. Having a good time. But in all seriousness, glad he's okay, because that was a shot.
Absolutely.
I mean, between the eyes.
I'm glad we could all laugh about it, and most of all, he can laugh about it and talk about it.
Exactly. Jared Saltalamacchia, the Diamondback catcher, first pitch swinging, and he launches that one to deep right center. Kemp going back. Look out in the pool. It's a home run. Diamondback catchers have been going deep at a major pace this season. And for Saltalamacchia, his 9th one-run game here in the 6th. Diamondback catchers more home runs than any other team in the National League.
First pitch swinging, slider down. wanted to try to backdoor that one, I think, to get ahead. And you can see Saltalamacchia, that back knee going down and getting it right into the swing path of the Diamondback catcher. Almost speeding up the bat of Salty. It's all about bouncing back now after that home run.
8th for Saltalamacchia as a Diamondback. He, of course, began the year with the Marlins, was released in early May. Signed with the Snakes a couple of days later. Jake Lamb takes strike one to even the count. Another ball in the air. This one is shallow left. Long run for Will Myers, but he gets there and makes the catch just in fair territory for the second out. 3 fly balls this inning off of Andrew Cashner, who's 1 out away from a very quick inning pitch-wise. Last start, 4 2/3, 117 pitches. So far tonight, 5 2/3, just 72. Drury 0 for 1 with a walk. Grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Drove in his first big league run in the first game of this series. Got the start last night and drove in his second big league run. Came to the Diamondbacks from the Atlanta farm system in the Justin Upton trade. And he hits it in the air. Myers makes the catch. And that's it for Arizona here in the 6th. They get 1 back, and the Padres lead by 1. Line up the big bat, Paul Goldschmidt and Andrew Cashner. First at bat, that's a strikeout. Second at bat, that's a strikeout. Third at bat, how about a 1-4-3 double play? Cash doing such a good job so far tonight with the slugging first baseman. Meanwhile, offensively, Matt Kemp hitting his 22nd home run of the season. Opposite field 3-run shot to put the Padres in front 4-2 in the 5th inning. It is now a 4-3 game as we go to the 7th, and Andrew Cashner will be leading it off against a new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, David Hernandez.
A lot of pitchers have been used in this series, the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Hernandez was in game 1 on Monday, pitched an inning. That was the 9th. That was in the blowout where the Padres won 10-3. 34th game for the right-hander.
Back this June from Tommy John surgery.
Still good giddy up on that fastball of his.
Cashner always thinking about ways to help out. Maybe bluffing a little bit of bunt there. Maybe thinking about it. Causes Lamb to consider something over at third base. Infield single his first time up. Ball and a strike to the Padre pitcher. And how nice is it to see a Padre starter, meaning a pitcher, taking an at-bat in the 7th inning?
Yeah, didn't I call it earlier? Cash going 8.
Did you? Drury has trouble with it.
Make that hurt.
That'll be an error on the second baseman. Talked earlier about all the moving pieces on the infield for the Diamondbacks. This is an oopsie right here.
You know, he played it right. He circled, squared himself, both hands out in front, just off the heel. Ball came up on him. That's going to happen.
Diamondbacks made 3 errors in the first game of the series, 1 last night, and now another here.
That's a good old-fashioned boot.
Leadoff man Will Myers scored on that 3-run homer in the 5th. Takes inside, ball 1. Talked about that inning that Hernandez threw in the first game of the series. He was on the mound when Cody Decker had his first big league at bat. Fastball outside, 2-0. Myers, the big offensive catalyst in Monday's game. The 10-3 win for the Padres. Hit a leadoff homer in the top of the 1st. Padres would score 5 times that inning. Added a 3-run double in the 5th. And the Padres would score 5 more times. Ahead here, 3-0. And he takes ball 4. So an error and a walk. Padres in business in the 7th against David Hernandez.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Talked about the defensive miscues in these games for the Diamondbacks. The 5 errors this series are the most they've had in any series this season. Padres trying to take advantage of it here in the 7th. Myers 0 for 1, but with 3 walks. And now Solarte will bat left-handed for the first time tonight. 1 for 3 with a run scored. That is a ground ball foul outside of first. Padres had a 2-run lead until the Saltalamacchia homer in the bottom of the last inning. Now trying to add back on and make things more comfortable. Solarte, one of the 5 Padres who's got 50 or more RBIs this season. Only 5 teams in the National League have 5 guys with 50 or more runs batted in. 0-2, and he just gets a piece.
And some action in the Diamondback bullpen. Enrique Burgos and Keith Hessler. Burgos, the right-hander, and Hessler, the left-hander.
Haven't seen either one of those guys in this series. 10 relievers used in the first 2 games by Chip Hale. 5 in each game. So far, no action for the Padre bullpen tonight, and that's good news as Solarte lays off 1 and 2. Been all about that guy.
And that's great news.
Chris Budden telling us at the start of the night that Sean Kelly will throw a simulated game in Denver on Friday as he tries to come back, and really was a key piece for the Padres bullpen, which has been taxed. On the ground, and it could be another double play. It is 3rd time tonight. Solarte has grounded into a double play. Cashner goes to 3rd. 2 outs. And Matt Kemp coming up as we check the in-game update on Pick the Stick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I use the telestrator? Huh.
So you're up 2?
I'm up 2 on Chris Button, 301.
Now you're the defending champ, are you not?
I am the defending champ, going for the repeat.
Has anyone ever gone back-to-back?
No.
Congratulations, bud. You're doing well.
Well, thank you very much. It's a good race, Chris Button.
You too.
I'm being respectful of it, and
hey, if you win,
I wish you luck along the rest of the way.
My only request, if you happen to win this year and you get the gnome, try not to drop it and break it again.
I didn't drop it and break it.
Shattered, from what I heard.
No.
Just exploded all over the place.
Not true.
It just broke on its own.
Not true.
We can get that guy in the outfield, the fan. He can tape it up for you, no problem.
I think that was Max Michalak who broke it.
Camp hits this one very high, very deep to center. Pollock on the edge of the track makes the catch, and that's it for the Padres here in the 7th inning. Error, walk, but double play flyout. Still a 1-run game.
Even if you're watching a big league ball game, you need the tools. Oh, this guy trying to use his head. He gathered up the pieces, broke his glasses, Band-Aid, glasses repaired. Yes, you need your glove. And a rousing applause for that fan taking that baseball off the nugget. And one of the tools of the trade, bring your glove to the ballpark. And also, Andy,
Andy Cashner, we're calling him Andy now?
Andy.
Okay.
He's got the good slider going. He's got the fastball going. Call him Andrew, call him Andy, call him anything. Call him nasty tonight. Drew. Yeah. Drew Cashner.
How about Cash? He's been money. Just 75 pitches through 6 innings as a 1-run lead. Owings, the pitcher spot, and Pollock due up for Arizona. Owings responsible for 2 of the 3 Diamondback runs, 2-run single back in the 4th inning. That put the Diamondbacks on top, 2-1. Matt Kemp would answer right back with the 3-run homer in the 5th. That's a strike, 1-2.
Joaquin Benoit is heating up for San Diego in their bullpen as Andrew Cashner starts the bottom of the 7th.
We talked about it when we came on the air. The 7th inning has kind of been the issue. Bridging the gap, as Pat Murphy says, and how nice it is to have a starter still going at this point. And Cash comes up with strikeout number 5.
Fastball down and away. That's exactly where he wanted. Bad hack by Owens as well.
Aaron Hill will be the pinch hitter for Hernandez. Saw him pinch hit in last night's game. He had missed a couple of weeks with a sore left hamstring. Walked as a pinch hitter last night against Ben Norris. And the next guy up after a pitching change would be A.J. Pollock, who hit the big home run against Andrew Kastner. Mother's Day this season. A little pink bat power for Aaron Hill. This one's hit well to left center. Myers coming in, and he makes the catch.
Nice. Look at the kid out there in left.
Just his second start in left field this season. Made the play.
Hey, good first jump from Will Myers. He went to his left and had to cut back in a little bit.
Hold your breath a little bit when the glove and the wrist coming down on the ground like that. Nice play by Myers, who's sort of acclimating himself to left. Played right field most of his time in Tampa Bay. Here's Pollock, and he takes strike one. 95 from Kastner. Single, double, single in his 3 trips. 5 for 10 in the series.
Well, Josh Colmenter is warming up in the Diamondback bullpen.
It's this one deep to right. Kemp can't quite get there in foul territory. He ends up on his seat. Looks like he's okay. And now a little bit.
This one's pretty close. And you know what? Thank goodness, you know, Matt kind of gets shooken up a little bit. But thank goodness there's a little bit of play on that fence.
Yeah.
Taking the brunt of that collision. Looks like he just kind of got scraped up on the right arm a little bit, or right hand. Hey, nice job by Austin Hedges going out and talking to Kastner, giving Matt Kemp a little bit of a blowout there in right field.
Absolutely. Veteran move from the rookie. 0-2. Kastner trying to finish off Pollock for the first time tonight. And another hard hit foul ball. Heavy at the top for the 7 Diamondback hits coming from Pollock and Inciarte. Another 0-2. Oh. Man, the umpires in this series and in this ballpark, going back the last few days, have taken a beating. Over the weekend against the Dodgers, Jim Wolf brought to his knees. And then Jed Jerko earlier in this series takes a bite out of Bruce Dreckman, and right here and right now, Tom Hallion. Oh man.
Right up around the collarbone jaw area. Oh man. That is a dangerous area.
Looks like Tom Hallion's okay. That's good to see because he took a shot.
Well, as we promised earlier, Jesse, we have tonight's T-Mobile Strongest Fan photo. You got to use the hashtag STDataStrongFan. Chance to be shown. And thank you, Rick.
Reb kettlebells.
Oh, it must be a CrossFitter.
Yeah. You do CrossFit, right?
I used to.
Oh.
As you can see just by looking at me, I haven't done it in a while.
Still 0-2 to Pollock. Hedges wants it down. He goes down and fouls it off. Here's your peek.
Look at a sneaky peek right here. Slider down. Fastball in. Fastball away.
Too far outside. Pollock takes ball 1.
Hey, nice place to miss, though. You'd rather miss on that side of the dish rather than the inner third or outer third right here, somewhere where he can get extended.
Hedges sets up inside this time, and another foul ball. Seven pitches already, and just a 1-2 count in this at bat. Number 90 coming from Cashner. Pollock has battled him all night long, and that continues here in a 1-run game in the 7th. The 1-2. Strike 3 called. Put it right on the outside corner at 96 miles per hour. And Cashner comes up with his 6th strikeout of the night to get through the 7th inning. Padres with a 1-run lead in the desert. Opening day starter for the Diamondbacks. On in relief now for Arizona.
Well, last year he won 11 games. A nice ERA of 3.46. He started 28 games for the Diamondbacks last year. Now out of the bullpen.
Aaron Hill stays in the game at second base, so they double switch. And the pitcher will hit 7th for Arizona. Brett Wallace, the cleanup man, leading off. Takes a big swing and a miss at the Cole Mentor offering. 0-1. There you go. Cole Mentor just the 3rd reliever used by Arizona tonight. Don't worry, they've got plenty more available.
That's got to change.
How about this? Josh Cole Mentor, and this is the 3rd game of this series, obviously, has now become the 16th different pitcher used by Chip Hale against the Padres in this series. 16th different pitcher. And some guys have pitched more than once.
It's got to change, don't you think?
Talk about it every September. The expanded rosters. I get it. Expand the rosters, but
why?
So the solution I'm in favor of is you still have a smaller active roster for a given game. You can't have all of these guys available every night. If you want to call them up, if you want to get them that experience, if you want to keep guys going after the minor league season ends, I get all that. but you shouldn't have all of them available to you every single night. The NFL has, you know, a game day roster that's smaller than the full roster. The NBA has inactive guys in a given game that are on the roster. The NHL, healthy scratches. Every other major pro sport does it. Totally different rules in the final month of the season. Just doesn't make sense. That's the third baseman Lamb with the shift on. He was the only guy over there. Wallace hits it to him. Brett's 2 for 4 tonight now. And 1 gone against Clemente here in the 8th.
How do you score that?
Excuse me, it was Owings, the shortstop. He was the one guy on the left side. So 6-3.
On the shift there, Jesse, how do you score that if it's another position player at that, if the ball's hit in that direction?
So I follow the technical rule, which is that what you put down in your scorecard has to do with the guy, not where he's standing.
Okay.
So if it's the second baseman, but he's on the left side, I write 4-3, but I'll put like a little circle where the ball was hit.
Got it.
To kind of remind myself that that's where the ball was hit. What about you?
I will write the position player who caught it like you, and I'll draw. I always circle my outs, and then I'll draw a little line on the circle where the ball was hit.
Okay, so similar kind of thing.
Correct.
I do a dot, you do a line. 1-1 to Jed Jerko. Walked his last time up. And he hits that one hard and to the shortstop. Owings caught it on the fly, 2 away.
Nothing you do there, Jed. And how close was it? Yes, in the glove.
Second baseman.
Showing the umpire. Second base umpire Bruce Dreckman, and then indicated catch on the fly for the L6.
Corey Spangenberg with Benoit getting ready. Joaquin did his thing in the 8th last night. A 1-2-3 frame. 2, 3, and 4 coming up, though. Spangie going to try and bunt for a hit. Clemente bare hand, and he got it. Nicely done by Big Josh Clemente. Fields his position well and takes a hit away from Spangenberg. Jack with melted garlic or butter. By Petco. What we feed them matters. And by National Car Rental. Go National. Go like a pro. Bottom of the 8th inning at Chase Field, Andrew Kashner gives way to Joaquin Benoit. 7 nice innings from Cash tonight.
There you see the numbers. I'm your 8th inning man. Stop me when I'm passing by. Oh, my. I'm your 8th inning man. Stop me when I'm passing by. See, all my pitches are guaranteed to satisfy. Good year for Joaquin Benoit as he enters the 8th with a 1-run lead.
Last night he got Ahmed, Lamb, and Pollock 8, 9, and 1. Here he'll deal with Inciarte, Goldschmidt, and Peralta 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, you love that first pitch swing like that, especially when the pitch was going to be a ball. Advantage Benoit. Inciarte not happy with that first swing offering.
Lays off that one. Ball and a strike. Craig Kimbrell. There's a sight for sore eyes.
Hey, remember we saw last night from the Diamondbacks. Ziegler came in for a 4-out save, right?
Yes, he did.
Came in the 8th. You never know. It might happen in a situation like this. Hopefully Joaquin has a quick 8th inning here.
We have not seen Kimbrell in 8 days.
It's a long time.
Two and 1 to Inciarte, and now 2 and 2. Hedges sets an outside target, and Benoit's 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed.
Wow.
He had no idea what to do with that fastball. And he takes a late, ugly swing to strike out for the first out here in the 8th.
How about bookends for bad hacks? The first one of the at-bat, really bad. This one, I don't know what he was looking for, what he was thinking, but advantage Benoit. Big first out here in the 8th.
Heavyweight battle now between Benoit and Goldschmidt. Cashner did a great job against the Arizona first baseman tonight. Struck him out twice and got him to ground into an inning-ending double play. Benoit has done well against him too. 1-0 from Joaquin, and now 2 balls and no strikes. $100 RBI guy for the second time in his career. How about he and Luis Gonzalez are the only Diamondbacks to ever drive in 100 in a single season?
I would have lost that bet too, probably.
Gonzalez did it every year from 1999 to 2003. Goldie did it 2 seasons ago. See what Benoit does on 3-0. Nibbles, and a nice pitch. 3 balls and a strike. Can't just shoot one down the middle.
No.
On 3-0 to him. Hey, there he is.
There's Gonzo. Luis Gonzalez. Fan favorite here. Retired number and everything. World Series hero, number 20. That's paint. Look at that pitch, Jesse.
Perfect.
Number 5, down and away. Wow. This is where you want to be. Talk about great location.
It was 3-0. Now a full count. 3-2. Hits it well to right. Kemp going over. Not going to get there. Goldschmidt has now hit it 9 straight games against the Padres. And it's a 1-out double in a 1-run game here in the 8th.
That's just something he does so well. Benoit trying to go back down and away, looking at contact. Outer third and up. And Goldschmidt hits it on the line. Just so strong to the opposite field. You know, for a big guy and the type of swing he takes, this guy is short and quick to the baseball.
Andrew Cashner's 6th win on the line here in the 8th. Tying run in scoring position with Peralta at the plate. gets ahead of Peralta after he fell behind to Goldschmidt. Big shift as Spangenberg playing shallow right field. It's not even a shift, he's just backed up. With a runner on second, they choose not to swing anybody else over there. Good change up from Benoit, 0-2.
That great change up, good arm speed from Benoit. We've seen it all the time, but also great location on this one. Splits the heart of the plate and then the bottom drops right out of it. Brad Ziegler, closer for the Diamondbacks, getting ready.
Got him. 3-pitch strikeout as Benoit gets Peralta 2 away.
Uno dos. Adios with the heater. Listen to the pop into the glove of Hedges. Love that.
Well, you mentioned it. Ziegler got the 4-out save last night. Kimbrel has been warming up, hasn't been used in 8 days. Maybe a conversation about how to pitch to Saltalamacchia, or no, it will be a pitching change. So the 8th inning guy comes on and gets a couple of outs, and Craig Kimbrel going to be called upon for a 4-out save, 1-run game here in the 8th. Get a 4-out save. He relieved Joaquin Benoit in the final game before the All-Star break. Got the final out of the 8th and then pitched the 9th inning. And right now, with Jared Saltalamacchia coming up, he's got to deal with a guy maybe that's hit the ball about as well as anybody else for the Diamondbacks. Sunday against Kenley Jansen, a 3-run homer from the switch-hitting catcher. He had homered in 3 straight games at that point. And tonight against Andrew Kachner, a solo shot in the 6th to make this a 4-3 game. That's the score right now. And he bats with the tying run in scoring position here with 2 outs in the 8th.
And Jesse, you mentioned that the last time out for Kimbrel was back on last Tuesday against Colorado. It's Benoit. I thought Benoit was throwing the heck out of the baseball, making some good pitches. The one that Goldschmidt elevated a little bit, but after that, hitting the spots nicely. Let's hope he can make short work of Saltalamacchia right here for Kimbrel.
He will. Spangenberg's got to wait for a couple of hops, but he's got plenty of time. And Craig Kimbrel needs just 1 pitch to get the first of the 4 outs he's going to try and get. Pat Murphy pulls the string. Still a 1-run game. Supplying most of the power tonight for the Padres, a 3-run home run. Back in the 5th inning. That's the difference in the game right now as he comes up with another hit to put the Padres in front. More go-ahead RBIs than anybody else in the National League. He and Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays pacing all of baseball in that category. And with the way Donaldson is swinging the bat, got to appreciate being in his company. And yeah, Craig Kimbrel, pitcher spot is due up third. No double switch made by Pat Murphy when he went out to get Joaquin Benoit and put Kimbrel in. We assume to get the 4-out save, so we'll see what takes place there. First, Melvin Upton and Austin Hedges due to bat. Kimbrel does not have a plate appearance in his major league career. No surprise, obviously, as a closer. And Melvin Upton hits that one on the ground to Hill at second base. One away. So there you go.
Catcher, Austin Hedges.
One out, nobody on. Austin Hedges.
Well, usually when you make a double switch, it's either one of the last two guys that made an out. So you're talking Jerko or Spangenberg. But late in the game, you can even go deeper up in the lineup. Plenty of roster guys on the roster that you could have double switched with in that situation.
Hedges skies that one foul.
And just as a hypothetical,
A little bit of trouble for Hill getting the ball out of his glove, but he does. 2 away. Craig Kimbrel coming up. Chris Bunnan, I don't know that he has his own batting helmet, does he?
No, the closer doesn't have his own gear, so he's wearing Tyson Ross's helmet and then needed some lumber. So James Shields went to the clubhouse, grabbed him a bat. So, you know, tough times. You got to borrow some stuff.
All right. First major league plate appearance for Craig Kimbrel. Shields bat, Ross's helmet. Both of them have had success at the plate this year. And he takes a pitch from Cole Mentor for a strike, 0-1. Puts a pretty good swing on that one. Lines it foul.
pretty good hack.
All right, break it down, Mark Graham. What are you seeing here from
Well,
Craig
as
Kimbrel
he's
at
short,
the plate?
quick to the baseball. Watch the stride. Hands are back. Kind of drifted a little bit. The body's drifted a little bit, and then the hands kind of dragging a little bit, working underneath the baseball. Overall, though, hey, not bad.
In the hole 0-2, and he takes that one outside. He's got a good eye. Kimbrel got the final out of the 8th inning through one pitch. Lamb, the pitcher, and Owings due up in the bottom of this inning as he tries to collect the save. Holds off on that one. 2-2. Only other time he came to the plate as a pro was in 2010 as a minor leaguer in the Sally League. And that strike 3 call. So Craig Kimbrel has a big league at bat. And he'll try and get a close, a save. He's got a few of those. Out Inciarte after a Goldschmidt double. He strikes out Peralta, and you say, okay. But then Pat Murphy goes and gets him. So Benoit 2/3 of an inning as Kimbrel comes on, and you say, all right, 4-out save. I've seen this before, not too often, but you do see it. The twist here is that Kimbrel was due up third in the top of the 9th inning, and so he had his first major league at bat. Struck out looking against Josh Colmenter, and now he goes out to try and finish this thing off in the bottom of the 9th in a 1-run game.
Yeah, and we were thinking maybe double switch in there. If the pitcher spot due up third, you could have double switched. Like, for instance, taking out Spansburg, you put the pitcher in that spot, and you have Alexi batting 9th in that inning. Well, it was a 1-2-3 inning. Now there's still the 1-run lead. And the last 3 for Craig Kimbrel right there. 3 hits, 3 innings, 1 earned run.
And just the 4th appearance of the month for the Padre closer, and that tells a bigger story about the way things have been going. But in the here and now, an opportunity for Craig Kimbrel to close it off.
And as I mentioned, that was just a hypothetical. You could have double switched with a number of different scenarios.
Sure.
Just a thought.
Jake Lamb way late on that 96-mile-per-hour fastball. 1-1. Lamb tonight has walked and scored and also flown out twice, including once to deep right field. Takes that strike at the knees. 1-2.
That is a P at the knee for Craig Kimbrel. Pellets.
Only 3 pitchers this season have more saves than Craig Kimbrel. 1-2 in the dirt with the curveball. Mark Melancon of the Pirates, Trevor Rosenthal of the Cardinals, and Jeurys Familia of the Mets. Two just gets a piece of the curveball. Day off tomorrow, then back at it on Friday night in Denver, 5 o'clock TV time here on Fox Sports San Diego. Ian Kennedy scheduled to throw for the Padres. Lots to talk about here tonight. Padres Live, the postgame show coming up with Mike Pomerantz and Mark Sweeney. Hear from Pat Murphy too, and what he had to say about the decisions he made late in this ball game. Now a full count to Lamb. Just got a piece. Hedges couldn't hold it in the mitt.
Yeah, that's when you really can't practice. That foul tip in and out of the glove. Hey, sometimes it sticks in the pocket. Sometimes it rattles around a little bit off the fingers and nowhere to be found.
That was a tough one. That didn't even really make it to the pocket.
Yeah.
It just kind of ticked the fingers of the catcher's mitt. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up. And there will be at least one more. Kimbrel trying for his second 4-out save of the season. Got 5 in his career. 3-2. Got him. 97-mile-per-hour fastball right by Jake Lamb. 1 away.
Hey, coming in hot with the heater, yo. Right down the middle, just at the knees for the strikeout.
Time now for our Bill Howe play of the game. The big fly, Matt Kemp, in the 5th inning, his 22nd of the year, a 3-run homer. Now 97 RBIs. That put the Padres on top 4-2 when they were trailing 2-1. All 4 Padre runs tonight coming with 2 outs.
That's clutch. Can you say clutch?
Clutch. Socrates Brito will be the pinch hitter for the pitcher Cole Mentor. 3 for 8 so far in his big league career. All of that action taking place here this season. Played 129 games at AA Mobile this year. Hit 300 with 9 homers. 15 triples to lead all of minor league baseball.
Wow.
Not seeing a lot of that in the Southern League. Greg Kimbrell working to 23-year-old Socrates Brito. Had never played above A ball before this season. Just missing 2-2.
You see Austin Hedges, his glove doesn't even move. Trying to frame that one and get that call for his pitcher.
Got him. Curveball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kimbrell here in the ninth.
The power yacker. Boy, he gets through that throwing zone. He gets that spin on it. Watch out.
Friday night, we're right back at it. Coors Field in Denver. Ian Kennedy and Chad Bettis. Padres trying to finish off this series here in Phoenix. After they were swept in San Francisco over the weekend. Last long road trip of the year for the Padres. They will close out the season. Final weekend in Los Angeles. Everything else at home. Final homestand of the year. We'll be here before you know it. Tuesday. Giants, these Diamondbacks, and the Brewers. Final 9 games at Petco Park this season. Shortstop Owings has driven in 2 of the 3 Arizona runs. Takes outside, ball 1. Way late, 1-2. Craig Kimbrell trying for his second 4-out save of the year. Got Jared Saltalamacchia to ground out on 1 pitch in the 8th. Struck out the first 2 here in the 9th, and in between he squeezed in his first big league at bat. Making up for lost time. 1-2 to Owings. Another 1-2 from Kimbrell, and he got him. Strike 3 call. Craig Kimbrell freezes Chris Owings with the curveball. Collects his 37th save of